The agentic pivot is here. OpenAI kills Sora, Meta abandons VR, and robotics officially enters the enterprise era. If you're trying to keep up with the tectonic shifts happening right now, you already know things are moving insanely fast. Welcome to Inuku.com, AI news you can use, your daily dose of AI know-how. Imagine walking away from a billion-dollar partnership with the biggest entertainment empire on the planet just because generating flawless photorealistic video is suddenly considered a complete waste of time. It is a staggering reversal of the tech trajectory. OpenAI has completely and permanently killed Sora. They eradicated the entire initiative. The standalone app, the API, the planned ChatGPT integration, dead. The immediate fallout is that a massive, newly inked $1 billion licensing and development deal with Disney simply evaporated. Zero money changed hands. Both sides just walked away. It feels like the demo era of generative AI is officially over. We are entering the deployment era, a ruthless pivot from magic to muscle. Why walk away from $1 billion? Because the unit economics of video generation are a financial nightmare. Those breathtaking Sora outputs aren't magic. They are thousands of interconnected GPUs screaming at maximum capacity. Generating a 60-second video means calculating the temporal consistency of every single pixel, frame by frame, maintaining the physical state of a simulated world. If generating a single minute of high-fidelity video costs $50 in raw cloud compute and electricity, you simply can't package that for a consumer. Sora was a bottomless sinkhole for capital. So OpenAI stripped the team, previously led by Bill Peebles, down to the studs. They are no longer building entertainment. They are building world simulation to automate the physical economy. And they are ripping up the floorboards across the entire company. The ChatGPT instant checkout feature has been drastically scaled back, pivoting to product discovery to shed the immense regulatory friction of processing payments. Every ounce of compute and talent is now funneling into a brand new on-device model, codenamed Spud. Spud represents a total paradigm shift. It is an extreme reasoning, on-device, agentic model. The leap from generative AI to an agentic system is the biggest leap in computer science since the graphical user interface. Think of it this way. Generative models are like a prep cook. You hand them a prompt, they chop the vegetables, deliver the code or image, and then they clock out. Zero intrinsic motivation. An agentic system is the executive chef. You give it a macro goal, like optimize my quarterly supply chain. It actively monitors shipping APIs, and when it spots a bottleneck in Rotterdam, it autonomously drafts an email to a secondary supplier, negotiates the spot rate, executes the contract, and wires the funds, all while you are entirely focused on something else. CEO Sam Altman expects Spud to launch in a matter of weeks. They are consolidating into a massive super app strategy, fusing ChatGPT, their Codex programming models, and the Atlas browser. Codex translates human language into code, meaning this new system can write its own software on the fly to solve your problems. To achieve this, Altman has delegated safety oversight to Mark Chen, focusing with tunnel vision on securing capital and building data centers. Fiji Simo's division has even been explicitly renamed AGI Deployment. Financially, it's dizzying. They just closed a $10 billion round, pushing historical funding to $120 billion. They are marching toward a 2026 IPO and targeting an unfathomable $600 billion compute spend through 2030. They are abandoning video because it is a race to the bottom. Cognitive reasoning, however, is a high-margin monopoly. OpenAI wants to be the electricity grid for the knowledge economy, and they aren't alone. Meta is executing the exact same ruthless pivot. After hemorrhaging $80 billion on Reality Labs since 2020, Meta is pulling the plug on VR, burying Horizon Worlds, and dumping an unbelievable $135 billion straight into AI infrastructure. CTO Andrew Bosworth is pivoting the workforce to native AI. They recognize the next major computing platform isn't a headset. It is an invisible, fully autonomous agent. Meta is aggressively acquiring agent startups like Dreamer, Moltbook, and Manus. Internally, employees are already using MyClaw, a 24/7 personal agent with unprecedented access to chat logs, work files, and calendars. It's like handing your accountant your banking passwords and unlocked phone while you sleep. To retain the talent to build this, Meta rolled out a $9 trillion valuation incentive plan for top executives. But this shift is causing massive friction. Meta was just hit with a $375 million fine in New Mexico regarding child predator safeguards because auditing a non-deterministic reasoning engine is exponentially harder than auditing a static keyword filter. The geopolitical shockwaves are even wilder. When Meta tried to acquire Manus for $2 billion, the Chinese government actually physically barred the co-founders from leaving the country. Agentic AI is no longer commercial software. It is foundational strategic infrastructure, viewed exactly like nuclear enrichment tech. The brains of the engineers are the actual supply chain. Speaking of supply chains, the physical hardware required to run these agents is triggering a massive rebellion. Software companies refuse to be bottlenecked by NVIDIA's monopoly. For 35 years, ARM just licensed their efficient chip designs, but now they've unveiled their first ever in-house physical chip. It's a 136-core AGI CPU, purpose-built from the silicon up for AI inference and agentic workloads. Meta, OpenAI, Cerebras, and Cloudflare are already buying in. We need to rigidly define the difference between training and inference here. Training a massive AI model is like spending 4 years writing a 10-volume encyclopedia. It is energy intensive, requiring power-hungry GPUs running at maximum capacity. But once the book is written, you don't need the printing press anymore. Inference is like someone asking you a trivia question, and you instantly answer from memory. Inference needs to be fast, precise, and lightweight. If OpenAI wants Spud running on 1 billion smartphones, they can't afford industrial printing press energy for every text message. When inference becomes cheap via these low-power ARM chips, intelligent ambient agents will be baked invisibly into our operating systems. And these hyper-efficient chips are the exact missing piece required to take software minds and put them into physical, moving bodies. The physical AI era is here. Agile Robots just struck a deal with Google DeepMind, deploying Gemini models directly into 20,000 physical robotic machines. The true value here is the data loop. Every physical micro-movement is recorded. Think of it like a hive of bees. If one bee learns a complex new way to extract pollen, that data is instantly uploaded, and every other bee on the planet possesses that exact same physical muscle memory. The collective intelligence scales at the speed of light. Boston Dynamics is integrating cognitive intelligence into their Atlas robot. Neurorobotics secured a deal with Qualcomm. SenseTime, a Chinese tech veteran, hit their first positive operating margin in years just by pivoting away from software into physical AI for manufacturing. This ambition doesn't stop at the factory floor. Figure AI founder Brett Adcock launched Hark, a stealth startup with $100 million, and ex-Apple design lead Abdur Chowdhury to build a personalized consumer hardware interface. They are using massive arrays of B200 GPUs in the cloud to train complex spatial models, distilling that intelligence down into an inference model that runs locally on your device. Amazon is doing the same, acquiring Fauna Robotics and launching Zoox robotaxis. Consumers will gladly trade privacy for a physical agent that manages their household logistics. But deploying these systems requires unbreakable trust. A hallucination in the agentic era isn't a funny image. It's an autonomous system accidentally deleting a production database. Trust is the new hard currency. That is why Anthropic is tracking for $15 to $19 billion in annualized revenue. They dominate high-stakes enterprise coding and legal sectors because they built their brand on safety. They just released Claude Auto Mode, allowing the model to autonomously execute actions and control a Mac computer with built-in safeguards. Apple is also gearing up for iOS 27, debuting a standalone Siri app powered by Gemini that reads across your secure emails and notes to execute actions inside third-party apps. The holy grail of this trust is coming from MIT with a concept called humble AI. A humble AI explicitly calculates and states its own uncertainty. Standard models guess when they don't know an answer, but a humble AI maps its boundaries. When a medical diagnosis falls outside its parameters, it actively halts and mandates human intervention. Like an air traffic controller dealing with a bizarre storm, knowing when to stop is the most valuable computation a system can make. This explosion of technology is completely rewriting the psychological contract of employment. AI compute tokens are the new ultimate perk in Silicon Valley. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang suggested an engineer's token budget could equal half their base salary, roughly $250,000 a year in dedicated compute. Handing an engineer that budget is like giving them an army of junior developers to write code 24/7. But tokens don't vest like equity. It's like paying a race car driver with exclusive wind tunnel hours. It makes them invincible on the track, but they can't pay their mortgage with it. It's an insidious retention strategy, locking top talent inside walled gardens. This generates massive workforce anxiety. ADP numbers show only 22% of global workers feel secure from AI job loss. Yet employees using AI daily report much higher engagement. They see it as a tool, not a replacement. To bridge this gap, the U.S. Department of Labor partnered with Arist to launch the Make America AI Ready initiative, a free text message course available by texting READY to 2022. The OpenAI Foundation, led by co-founder Wojciech Zaremba, also committed $1 billion to AI philanthropic efforts. But eventually, all this digital ambition violently collides with the physical limits of the Earth. AI is now heavy industrial manufacturing. U.S. import prices just hit a 4-year high, driven directly by AI infrastructure spending. Memory giant SK Hynix is filing a $14 billion stock listing just to expand fabrication facilities. Microsoft swooped in to lease a staggering 700 megawatts of data center capacity in Texas, the electrical footprint of a mid-sized city dedicated entirely to computation. Electrical capacity is the ultimate beachfront property. This voracious consumption is triggering political backlash. Progressive lawmakers Bernie Sanders and AOC proposed a federal moratorium on new data center construction, arguing the massive water and energy demands threaten municipal utilities. The tech industry argues a freeze will cede global leadership. It is explicitly a matter of national security. The White House elevated commercial data centers to strategic military targets because our defense networks rely on them. The administration is pushing for the first comprehensive federal AI law to manage energy demands and child safety. Simultaneously, President Trump appointed Jensen Huang and Mark Zuckerberg to a National Science and Tech Council, making private sector leaders the literal architects of national infrastructure policy. Before we get into the final takeaways, just a reminder that you can find more insights like this at ainuku.com. So let's look at the summary of what is happening today. The era of building magical but unprofitable generative toys is completely over. Major players have aggressively pruned consumer-side projects to focus entirely on highly lucrative, revenue-generating autonomous agents and physical robotics. As these systems expand, the hardware supply chain is fracturing to prioritize hyper-efficient inference chips. But the staggering infrastructure demands of this technology are colliding with global energy constraints, driving national inflation and forcing massive federal legislation. The demo era is dead. The physical agentic era is here. This leaves us with a profound shift in how we view our careers. We are rapidly entering a world where your value in the economy is no longer measured by how skillfully you use a digital tool. It will be measured entirely by how effectively you manage, direct, and audit your digital employees. When Apple, Meta, and OpenAI hand you a team of autonomous agents that run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, what exactly are you going to tell them to do? And that's your daily dose of AI know-how from ainuku.com, AI news you can use. The biggest takeaway today is simple. Secure your compute power, master your agentic workflows, and prepare to manage the autonomous systems that will dictate the next decade of the global economy.